when I write a book, I start with a certain approach, but when I go ahead, I discover a lot of things which I feel that industry is not using, or maybe the industry should use and should get a lot of advantage out of it. Now that is where my consulting comes in.
Hello and welcome to the Honest Talk by Freak Folks. I'm Harsh Pandey. For this particular session, our guest will be Mr. Jayan Chakrabarti, sir, who is here with us. He is an associate professor of digital marketing and business analytics and program chair MBA at Washington University. He has more than 25 plus years of experience in STEAM education and IT sector. He is the author of book named Digital Marketing 2.0, HR and Analytics, The Digital Entrepreneur, and the Cinderella Jones Affair. So first of all, sir, I welcome you in this session. Thank you so much for joining and agreeing to share your views.
Thank you very much, Harsh.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure. So moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is Digital Marketing 2.0. The traditional sales and marketing paradigm have already been established over the past decades. Digital solutions have been utilized by many organizations for years, but now people are participating in this innovative virtual experience. So my very first question to you is, what's digital marketing 2.0 going to be like?
Okay, before I tell you what is digital marketing 2.0, I would like to share a small anecdote from my own life. My teaching experience is now close to 20 years, and I've been teaching all traditional subjects. How did I do digital marketing? What happened was I studied in Switzerland, and during that time, there was an incident of a lady who suffered an accident, and doctors were trying to save her. So, based on that, I wrote a thriller. Okay, my first book was a novel. It was a thriller called The Cinderella Jones Affair, and no publisher was ready to publish it because they said, "Sir, you are known as a professor. You are not known as a author." So nobody was ready to publish. One author gave me the challenge that if you can market it using digital marketing, then we are ready to publish it. So I took that challenge. That time I also did not know what is digital marketing. And over a span of 3 months, I could sell 1,000 copies using digital marketing. So what we did was we created banners, okay, we created videos, we did email marketing, we did social media marketing. So we did all that, and finally I could sell 1,000 copies. That is where I realized one thing, and I did not spend a single rupee, no money spent on promotions. And I realized the power of digital marketing. Okay, that was 5 years back. Now, over the 5 years, I have been engaged in digital marketing. I've been teaching digital marketing. I am doing consulting with top companies in India and abroad. I'm training them on digital marketing. And I realized one thing. Now, digital marketing itself is getting saturated because everybody is using SEO, SEM, SMM. All these are very commonplace. And it is so saturated that it's very difficult to get a clear visibility in the market. So how do you get this clear visibility? Okay, that is where digital marketing 2.0 comes. Okay, so I'll take you through a few tools. Like one of them is social listening. Okay, so what do I do in social listening? Everybody today, there's a culture change also. In our age, we used to write things in a diary and we used to hide that diary under our bed, under our pillow. Today, young people like you, what I see, you have opened up your private life in the social media. Everything is there in social media. Okay, so if I'm a brand manager, all I have to do is listen to you. Okay, what does Harsh like? Which food does Harsh like? Which movie does Harsh like? Who is his role model? What music does he like? I can get everything from your Facebook and social media and everything. And I can sell you a very specific product which you like. Okay, based on your preferences and all that. Now, that is called social listening. Okay, listening to the customer, understanding that customer, and making that profile. Then we call it footprint analysis. Footprint analysis means, you see, when you enter a website, any website today you enter, you must be seeing a disclaimer that we have got a cookie policy. Okay, do you agree to that cookie policy? The moment you say that you agree, what happens is that cookie enters your computer, okay, and collects all data from you and comes out. Now, through a web analyzer, for example, like Google Analytics or something, I can analyze the data which is there in your laptop and what you do, okay, which products are you looking, what are you buying from, all this data I can get. Okay, so that is another great tool which we use. Now there is another tool called artificial intelligence AI. Okay, so when you enter most of the websites, now what happens is when you go to a shop, there would be a sales assistant who would come and say, "Sir, what do you want? Can I help you?" Now in e-commerce stores, when you enter, there is a chatbot. Okay, now the chatbot will tell you what do you want. I'll share a personal anecdote. Last year during the lockdown, what happened? My son went to his my father's place, my mother's place, and we were in Chandigarh. He was in Northeast, and the lockdown started. So we could not get him. Flights were getting cancelled. When we called up Indigo and Air Asia, they said, "Sorry, no staff is there in the office. So who will answer?" Okay, then we found out that in Indigo and Air Asia there is a chatbot. So we asked the chatbot that can we get a flight ticket? We want to go to Northeast. The chatbot guided us. Okay, so this is the flight. This is the booking you can do. After I did the booking, the flight got cancelled. The chatbot informed us that the flight got cancelled. These are the options. Would you like to take an alternate option? So this is digital marketing 2.0, where we are moving into a stage where I can get personal data about my customer. Okay, I can collect data about the choices and preferences, and I'm not dependent on a human being for CRM, customer relationship management. I can use AI tools. That is digital marketing 2.0.
Indeed, sir, you have shared so many things insightful, and you have shared your own story, how actually you came to know about digital marketing and how actually you started your journey. And you have told how actually it happens, how actually you have told about the SEM. Sir, what we majorly people actually we are now quite much familiar with these kind of words. But sir, if I ask you how this digital marketing 2.0 is different from digital marketing, and how would you categorize digital marketing 2.0?
Okay, so categorized today in digital marketing 2.0 is that now this is disruptive. Okay, so this is disruptive. How I'll tell you. Let me take the example of Ola and Uber. Okay, now what Ola and Uber when they came to India, what happened was people were a little skeptical about using their services. So what did Ola and Uber do? They told the customers you can get a free ride. Okay, if you take one, first ride will be free. So people loved that free, so they took that free ride. Then they said, okay, second ride would also be free. Okay, if you actually you ask your friend to subscribe to it. Okay, and your friend also take the ride. So you and your friend both will get the ride free. Okay, so again people said, okay, that's fine. They took that ride. Then they said, okay, third ride will also be free. If you post in social media something good about us, then you'll get a third ride also free. Now, what was they were doing? There is a terminology for it. It is called growth hacking. Okay. Now, instead of like in traditional marketing, instead of spending money on advertising or brand ambassador or something like that, what I am doing, I'm giving a portion of the revenue to the customer. Okay, I'm spending the money on the customer, and the customer becomes my brand ambassador. Now, my customer is propagating my brand. Okay, so this is called growth hacking. So this is a tool of digital marketing 2.0. Another tool I'll talk about that is called ORM. Okay, it is called online reputation management. Okay, now you will see that if you write something against a brand, okay, you write something against Coca-Cola or you write something against Airtel or something against Twitter, against Indigo. If you write it on Twitter or Facebook or something, you will immediately see their customer representative will contact you. They will say, "Yes, sir, what is the problem? Can we help you out?" Okay, so what they are trying is they are trying to protect the reputation. It is called online reputation management. I'll give you a very practical example. Sushant Singh Rajput committed suicide. Okay, so after that, what was happening was people started blaming Mahesh Bhatt for it. People started blaming Salman Khan for it. People started blaming a lot of people, nepotism, and a lot of things came out. Okay, so what happened was Salman Khan had a digital marketing team which was defending. So that team came out and said, no, Salman Khan was not against Sushant Singh Rajput. In fact, he gave him a break. He gave him a lot of movies. Because he was all through with him. Mahesh Bhatt did not give any clarifications. Now, what happened? Mahesh Bhatt, there was a movie which came during that time only. Mahesh Bhatt's movie came, okay, and Sarak 2. Sarak 2 created a record. The record was getting the highest number of dislikes. Okay, the movie crashed. The problem that Mahesh Bhatt did, he did not do ORM. Salman Khan did ORM. So Salman Khan, people said, okay, we understand. It was a misunderstanding, but Mahesh Bhatt did not do ORM. Again, another tool of digital marketing 2.0, where you proactively create an image of yours. Okay, you put those inputs so that when people think, today, for example, you must be seeing that a lot of companies are donating oxygen. Okay, they're writing in social media that Cred is one company which is donating oxygen, Reliance is donating oxygen, Tata is donating oxygen. What they're doing actually, of course, they're doing good thing, I'm all for it, but they're also doing ORM, online reputation management. So people are saying, okay, Ratan Tata is doing so much, Mukesh Ambani is doing so much, okay, that great Kunal is doing so much. So this is again digital marketing 2.0.
Indeed, sir, again, you have told many important things, and I think you have given a very excellent example. People could, those who are watching, they can easily relate from this kind of examples. So my next question to you is actually today we live in a society that places convenience high on the priority list. With the increased exposure to virtual experience brought upon us by this pandemic, the demand will likely elevate consumer expectation even further and accelerate the pace of adoption. Nobody could deny this fact. Digital transformation is here to stay. Sir, my question to you is, how do you see the future of this high-paced digital transformation if I ask you after the next 10 years?
Okay. Before I tell you 10 years, let me tell about the last 1 year. Okay. So last 1 year, we have read a lot of negative news in the media that a lot of companies closed down, a lot of people lost their jobs and all that. Among them, there are a lot of companies which are called unicorns. Okay, unicorns are new startups which has become billion-dollar companies. Okay, and there is a company called Misho in India. Okay, then there are a company called Cred. Okay, then Whitehead Junior, Baiju. All of these companies have become billion-dollar companies during the pandemic. Okay, now why did they become billion-dollar companies? Because they were digital platform. Okay, they were using the digital platform in a big way. Okay, and what we have realized now, many people are asking me that maybe the vaccine has come and then Corona will go away and maybe we'll go back to the physical world. So I tell them, no, there is no going back to the physical world. The world has changed and we have to change. Okay, so today Amazon is making a lot of money, Flipkart is making a lot of money. All these digital platforms, they are making a lot of money. Okay, physical companies are in big trouble. Okay, they are facing all this trouble and they're not getting the business out there. Okay, so the future belongs to those nimble companies who are adopting the digital platforms. Even in education, what has happened today, that many students used to go to US, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, people used to go. Now all these countries have closed the doors that we are not going to allow Indians to come, but they have not closed the doors to education. They're saying still you can come down and the prices have come down. Okay, now you don't have to spend so many dollars going to New York, Washington, getting a hostel, paying tuition fees and all. And tuition fees also you are getting subsidies. So you are getting at a very low cost, you are getting access to high quality education. So whether it is education, whether it is healthcare, whether it is other kind of businesses which are making the transition into the digital platform, they have a future. Okay, they are going to survive, sustain. People who are still thinking that maybe the vaccine will work, maybe we'll go back to the physical world, times are difficult for them.
Indeed, sir. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Indeed, sir. Sir, my next question to you is, sir, do you believe, or if I ask you, sir, what are the still there are some limitations or challenges to digital marketing? It could be means a kind of request. You can kindly explain our viewers what are the still challenges to digital marketing and what are its limitations?
Good question. Very nice question you have asked. In fact, when I do consulting in digital marketing, many people come and tell me that, sir, digital marketing does not work. We tried, we did some SEO, SEM, we got no results. Okay. Now, the challenge of digital marketing is, are you taking a structured approach or are you taking a random approach? Now, randomly you post some pictures in social media, you write some content, you post a video, and you think miracle will work. No, miracle will not work. Okay, so there is a process. Okay, you have to follow a process in that is what I've written in my book also. Okay, how you go through a process of digital marketing. So you have to create that awareness. Okay, after that awareness, you have to create that interest. Okay, after interest, you have to create that engagement. Then you have to get the data about the customer. Then you have to convert the customer. Okay, even you have to do some kind of post-sales activity after the customer has bought your product. You have to do CRM. So like that, you go step by step if you want to be successful in digital marketing. Number one. Number two, there's a very interesting thing about digital marketing. All these tools of digital marketing that we talk about, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all, they are backed up with analytics. They've got analytics platform. So Google has got Google Analytics, Facebook has got Facebook Analytics, YouTube has got YouTube Analytics. So it is like driving a car with your eyes on the dashboard. Your eyes should be on the dashboard. You should be knowing that your approach is working or not. Okay, I'll give you another personal example. When I launched my book, I am actually belonging to Northeast and I'm a Bengali. So when I wrote that book, I thought maybe my book will sell in Kolkata or Northeast. Then I looked at the Google Analytics and I found that my book was actually selling in Bangalore and Pune. Okay, so when I saw that, I stopped my marketing campaign in Northeast and Kolkata. I increased my marketing campaign in Bangalore and Pune. Okay, so like that, you have to have a very structured approach if you want to have successful in digital marketing, and the potential is huge. You can really do very nice in digital.
All right, sir. So actually, as you have written three books, actually, when I was reading your profile, I was very impressed after knowing that you have written three books: Digital Marketing 2.0, HR Analytics, and the Digital Entrepreneur. And the first one you have told about which this Cinderella Jones affair. Actually, you are doing a great job, sir. But the one question which actually came to my mind, and I'm very curious to know, what was one of the most surprising thing that you have learned in creating your books?
Surprising thing, actually, most of the books have been written apart from Cinderella Jones, which was a thriller actually. So I wanted to create something very interesting. But when I write these textbooks or books for the industry, I write about a lot of case studies, and of course it is backed with a lot of research. Okay, so when I write a book, I start with a certain approach, but when I go ahead, I discover a lot of things which I feel that industry is not using, or maybe the industry should use and should get a lot of advantage out of it. Now that is where my consulting comes in. I get a lot of ideas, and those ideas I put it on the industry, and I get a lot of consulting thing like that. So what I say is that if you are writing a book or you are doing research or something, okay, you be like Christopher Columbus. Now Christopher Columbus, when he sailed, he wanted to discover India, and he could not. He did not. It was somebody else who discovered, Vasco da Gama, who discovered India. But yes, Christopher Columbus did discover West Indies. Okay, and he's very well known. Okay, he's well known because he set out into that voyage. So when you start that voyage of maybe writing a book or any kind of thing, do it with an open mind. Okay, that what is going to come, I don't know. But let me start the process. And as I navigate through the process, as I go ahead with the process, new discoveries come. Again, I have a message for people like you and the young people. Now, when I teach in the class, I ask how many of you want to become entrepreneurs. Now, people say that, sir, we don't have the capital, we don't have that knowledge, we don't have the people, we are not that strong to fight against big brands, so we are afraid to become an entrepreneur. So I tell them, okay, become a digital entrepreneur. You don't need anything. Okay, you can just use a digital platform and you can sell your products. Okay, I can give you some examples. My niece, she works in IBM and she also sells cakes in Bangalore. So how she sells cakes, she puts pictures of cakes in the Facebook, and then somebody orders. There's a third party who picks it up, and the money is deposited in her account. I have another student of mine who sells this women's ornaments in Chandigarh University campus. Inside the campus, there are 10,000 students. So he goes to Delhi, he gets those things, and he puts in Instagram. And women see it and say, we want it. He goes and supplies to them. So very simple models. You don't need a big website or a big company and all. You don't need. Okay, you can just you need a laptop and you need a good internet connection. That's all. Okay. So this is my message for young people like you and those who are listening here, that if you want to become an entrepreneur, become a digital entrepreneur. Okay, with very low cost capital and with a very big market. Okay, sitting in Delhi, Mumbai, or maybe sitting in a small village in Northeast, you can reach out to US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Europe. Market is yours. Okay, and very easily. Okay, so this kind of dynamism we are getting in today's digital world, and you should leverage and harness that.
Indeed, sir. Again, it was a quite insightful answer from your side. I'm sure the viewers, those who are watching those, are especially from the young group, they are surely going to relate from this on your answer. Sir, my next question to you is actually I have means taken this question because I know you have around 20 plus years of experience in steel education and IT sector. Sir, as we moved into this 21st year of 21st century and passing through this very unprecedented time, the way we do business has changed. We now operate in a business environment that can be very aptly described as ultra volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. The pace of change is faster and getting faster. Organizations are flatter, customer demand are ever increasing, competition is global, and the continuous disruption are now considered as new normal. Sir, my question to you is what is needed to survive and thrive in such a VUCA world?
Two things. Okay. One is knowledge, the other is upskilling. Now, let me tell you that today I am attending classes of a person called Jatan Shah, who is 21-year-old. Okay, he's teaching how to do analytics using Excel, and I am attending his class. Okay, I am 48, he's 21. Okay, he's half my age, but I'm attending his classes because I want to know. Then there was another lady who is also some 22, 23-year-old. She was teaching how to do drop shipping through Amazon. Okay, so I found it very interesting. She was charging some 200, 300 rupees, and I attended 2 hour session. I attended her session also. Okay, so at my age also, I am learning new skills. I'm not saying I'm an expert and I know everything. No. Okay, today, as you said, it's a volatile, uncertain world. What is coming next, I don't know. But if you are equipped with skills, if you are equipped with skills, you have got an open mind to adapt. I'll give you one simple example: that dinosaurs were more powerful than human beings. Okay, but dinosaurs did not survive. Human beings survived, old age and all that. Why did we survive? Because we adapted. Okay, so in today's age also, I will give that message. You need to upskill, you need to adapt, you need to strategize, and with an open mind. Don't be static that everything is falling apart. So maybe the government is going to help me, maybe God is going to help me. Nobody is going to help you. It's you who has to help yourself. Okay, so if you are upskilling, if you are strategizing, if you are adapting, yes, you are going to survive. If you are not, then it's a disaster.
Indeed, sir. Again, it was an excellent message. And sir, I guess I could say there's a lot more to learn from you, but today I don't want to take too much of your time. So moving to my last question of this
Welcome.
session.
Welcome.
Sir, actually, I'm just seeking an advice from you for all those viewers, those who are from, those who are in, still there in their colleges, those who are in their engineering college as well as in their B schools. What kind of skills they must learn in their college apart from studies to make themselves more compatible with the industry and to make themselves more compatible in this fast-changing world?
So again, the advice I'm going to give here, whatever, first of all, pursue your passion. Okay, not that everybody has to become a computer engineer, not necessarily. Okay, so if you are good at writing songs, great. Okay, if you are good at playing cricket, great. Okay, pursue your passion first of all. Okay, but along with that, what should be your focus? The most of the biggest mistake that students do is in my class and the universities I have seen. Okay, they're chasing after syllabus and marks. Okay, they'll sit for the exam and how much marks did I get? Now, if I ask you, how much marks did Narayan Murthy get? How much marks did Mukesh Ambani get? How much marks did Ratan Tata get? Does anybody know the answer? No. Okay, but do we respect them? Yes. Okay, they are great entrepreneurs. They've done great things in life. So my advice to you, the students, is first of all, don't go with the herd mentality that people are going into computers, everybody rushes into computers. Not necessarily. Today we don't need too many of computer engineers, we need healthcare professionals. Okay, so pursue your passion, whatever is it, but whichever passion you pursue that skills. Now, Sachin Tendulkar was not made in a day. Virat Kohli was not made in a day. Okay, there is a lot of hard work, passion, practice, which brought them to that platform. But they were dedicated, they were focused. Okay, this is what I want to be. Okay, they were focused. So that is what I'll tell young people that number one, pursue your passion. Number two, pursue the skills, pick up the skills. Number three, give full dedication. Whatever you're doing, short term, if you're not getting results, don't get disappointed. Okay, so to make a diamond, it takes 1,000 years. Okay, so don't get disappointed. Keep yourself updated, develop yourself, and yes, success will be yours.
Again, sir, you have told many important things, and I'm sure it was a kind of healthy conversation with you over the topic. Thank you so much, sir, for joining and giving your important time. We look forward to conduct more such sessions with you in the future. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome, Harsh.
Thank you.
On the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside, I'm alone